What is up, all of you awesome and amazing people on YouTube? The old coot here coming at you with another exciting video. Averna, most likely the most misdescribed of the Italian Amaro I have seen in other people's things. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe these people are getting this wrong. Or maybe they have just like an insane extraterrestrial taste bud that I don't have. But here's what I'm getting. The primary frontal push that you're getting from Averna is, I would say, 55% coffee, 45% chocolate. Those are the two main notes. This is not in any way, shape, or form a cola type thing. I'm not getting any medicinal, and I hate that word, meaning I don't taste any fennel. I don't taste any licorice, bad licorice. I'm not getting any of that. It's quite pleasant. It's a beautiful balance between coffee and chocolate, like as close to a 50-50 ratio as you can get, but it's more like 55 coffee, 45 chocolate. And then there's like a note, like in a percentage of 100, there's a 1% note of like some kind of smoked quality about it. It's very subtle. You really need to kind of like take your time with it, take a few sips, which I will do again right now. Wow, that's good. Okay, and then yeah, on the nose, it's very coffee and chocolatey, and it's not too sweet. There's a good balance of sweetness in here, but it's not as sweet as, say, that's why this is in this video, Cafe Granita, which is a more sweeter coffee Italian liqueur. This one has subtle bitterness to it. I would say in the battle between sweet and bitter, this one wins out in the bitter side. If you had to put a percentage to it, I would say, again, it's maybe like 55% bitter to 45% sweet, but it's almost perfect. Like it's almost a perfect balance between sweet and bitter. That's the best way I would describe Averna. Whatever you're going to hear me say after this is just, I'm probably repeating myself. You can turn off the video here, whatever. But by the way, now's a good time to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button down there below. Also, I put some links to some products down there if you want to go ahead and check those out in the description section. But basically, like, just to elaborate on what I was saying, this is an older bottle, by the way. This is pre-2020. I know that for a fact because I know where I got this from, and it's pre-2020. How old this bottle is, I'm not exactly sure. If you think you know, comment in the comment section down there below. But I cracked it open for the first time. There was actually that seal, you know, like kind of like Aperol has this seal up here. That's how old it is. It had a seal of like the tax note and all that good stuff. So it's not a brand new bottle. And maybe that might have something or some kind of effect on the flavor profile, but I wouldn't say that much. You know, it's just, it's a good, I would say this was made probably maybe after 2010, like 2010, but definitely before 2020. So it's within the last, let's say, 10 years or so. But in terms of like when I cracked it open and I smelled it, the predominant smell was, and I'll smell it again, it was very coffee forward with just a hint of chocolate. But when you taste it, when you actually taste it, then you get almost this perfect balance of coffee forward, like coffee's the forefront taste, and then chocolate was the next taste, and then the bitter comes in third. And it's kind of like, I also mixed, by the way, I did a 1 to like 1.5 ratio of the Averna with San Pellegrino. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. By the way, Aperol here hanging out in the corner. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but if any of these companies are watching, I would love to work with you. Send me a message. Anyways, but usually that's how I taste these Amaro or Amari is I always mix in some soda water or some San Pellegrino or something just to kind of break up the alcohol push that you're getting. By the way, now's a good time to mention that this is 32% alcohol by volume, so it would basically be 64 proof. Here's more of the label, if you want to go ahead and check that out, right? Fratelli Averna. This is made in Caltanissetta, Sicily, which is kind of like the middle region of Sicily. Very mountainous, right? So you're getting a lot of like dry mountain. It's kind of like the Southern California brushlands or desert kind of area. That's how I would describe most of like the middle of Sicily. Very like wheat. They grow a lot of wheat. I believe there's a female winemaker. Kudos to her. There's a female winemaker who's actually making I think a whole series, a whole line of wines, different wines from that same area of Caltanissetta or somewhere close to it. Canicattì. What's the other one? Catania, those kind of areas of the middle of Sicily. So kudos to her for doing that. But I could see now, right, where this was made. I think the first year making this was 1912, right? I now know where these tastes, these flavors are coming from. Probably like the coffee was coming from maybe, I don't want to say Colombia, but probably Colombia or maybe somewhere like in the African kind of area, continents, kind of somewhere like that. The chocolate, the cacao was probably coming from like South America. So all this at that time, like 1912, we're talking about lots of trade routes being opened up. You're kind of like at 100 years post Renaissance, 200 years post Renaissance in Italy, like the Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, that kind of realm. So you're getting a lot of Renaissance type things where these people in these towns were like, hey, what can I do with all these spices and herbs and things that are local and that kind of vibe. So that's kind of just my opinion. That's not fact, but I think that's what's going, being the Italian that I am and just kind of gauging what like my ancestors would have done. I think that's probably what's going on is one of these old coots went out there in the middle of Sicily and said, hey, what can I gather locally mixed with what are we getting from other regions of the world, and kind of mix and match and pair, and you kind of get the idea. Anyways, this video is getting way too long, but for comparison purposes, check out the video just before this one. But the Caffè Granita is just pure coffee. It is sweet. Like in terms of the sweetness balance, it's kind of like tasting Trader Joe's coffee ice cream. That's kind of like what it's like. It's got the same level. It's not overly sweet, but it's just like a good amount of sweetness. That's what I'm getting from that one. The Aperol, you've seen me do tons of videos on this. This is also an older bottle, right? Like a more vintage bottle, let's say. Definitely pre-2020, probably around 2010, kind of that era. The Aperol is bitter and orange peel. Think like a bitter orange. That's kind of what this tastes like. Not as sweet as the others are. So I hope this video out there helps someone. I'm the old coot. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button down there below, and I will catch you all in the next exciting video.